Guys, welcome back to first of all, welcome back to the Ike MMA podcast. I'm joined in studio with none other than Middleweight Champion at Cage Warriors, Mr. Mick Stanton. You from Mick or Mickey?
Either, it's up to you.
I'll stick with Mick. I'll stick with Mick. But listen, look, I ask again how you feeling. Have things been? The fight camp, the fight itself, and the aftermath.
Yeah, the fight camp was perfect. It's the best one I've had for a long time. Trained hard, the team pushed me well. Coming off the title shot he had against Will Curry, it was a rough camp. It was a bad camp. Things went wrong. Training partners got injured. I had a lot of problems with injury and illnesses myself. So it wasn't a performance I'm proud of. I got it done now. I got that win. And, you know, then going on to the James Webb fight, I made sure everything was perfect.
Okay. No, I'm glad to hear that your fight camp. I mean, your fight camp. You said they really pushed you, as in they pushed you really hard. I mean, was it do you feel like this was extreme? Could you say this was you say this was the best fight camp you've ever had so far?
Yeah, well, you've got to imagine the difference with fighting 5 rounds and 3 rounds. The next 10 minutes, the conditioning and training we do at AEW, we wrestle every day. It's our bread and butter. So the sessions that Darren Morris puts us in when we have them title fights is very extreme and very tough. We're talking like it put me through a session where I'd be wrestling a different opponent for 10, 20 minutes, going on for 2 hours. The session goes on for no rest, and then finishing off with crazy bike workouts and sparring. It's not many people could do it. It breaks you. It's tough. It's hard, but it gets you prepared for the big events and then big shows, and that's where the performance comes into play. You're getting beat up every day. So when you get in that cage and things go wrong like they did, you stay calm and you get through it, you weather that storm and you pull off your win.
Would you say that at the same time it kind of tested your mental capabilities as well to see how long you could last? I mean, this is just sparring, but it was to also assess how mentally ready you were for the upcoming fight.
Yes, that's the whole thing to do. It's all a mental thing. You got to put yourself in a really bad place in them training camps to get through it, so you're prepared for the fight.
I see. But I mean, the fight experience, I mean, well, not the fight experience, but the fight itself on I think it was Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, boys, yes.
At Cage Warriors 157. I mean, just was it like walking into the cage? And I'm gonna ask you about this later on. There were you mentioned in one of your posts recently that you wanted to thank all the naysayers, and they didn't say I'm sure there must have been some haters in there that just want to add some vile abuse as well, just try and mentally break you. Just what was it like just walking into the cage and looking at your opponent in the eye, just getting ready to basically everything down the line, this is where everything's going to be put to the test?
Yeah, I was calm. I was good. I knew the hard work was done. I knew I could win. I was very calm, and I had to be calm to be able to stay safe and stay away from his big shots. I did think he was going to take me down and try and out-grapple me. I did. I was, like I said, I've been wrestling a lot and preparing for that. But he decided to stand up and strike, and I did say that if he wants to stand with me, it will end bad, and that's where the knockout come.
You also did mention that there was you got your revenge. I mean, is there between you and James Webb, has there been or is there any bad blood between you two?
No, he's a great man, James. I have nothing but respect, but I don't like getting beat, and it's
Ah,
nothing
I
to do with
see.
anything else. It's a personal thing. It's me against me. I I don't do this to be anyone or to be anything. My dream is now to be able to provide for my family. I'm a full-time working father of three. You know, Fighting to me is a hobby. It's a hobby. I work, I'm in the gym now. I live in the gym. Me and my family, my wife's got a dance company upstairs, and I've got an MMA academy downstairs. I'm here from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, and I train around my job. So, you know, a lot of the fighters I'm actually fighting do not but train, and they just live life in camp. Unfortunately, the money I get from Cage Warriors or from fighting itself at the moment is not enough to allow me to put more into my training. But, you know, I'm a hard-working man. I've done this, you know, since I was a young boy, and I wouldn't change anything. I just keep doing the same thing. If the money did come, I just keep cracking on and keep earning a living. And like I said, it's a hobby. That's all it is. It's a hobby.
I can see from your fight record that, you know, like you said, you've been doing this for a very, very long time. But as I'm speaking to you for the first time, can you talk about a bit about your background and how you got into mixed martial arts and beyond that, just combat sports as a whole? I think I did hear once in one of your interviews, I think you started with boxing and you progressed from there.
Yeah, I started boxing as a young lad, about 11 years of old. I had a hard time growing up. I lived in a rough place, brutal. And I got to a point in life where I wanted to learn how to fight and defend myself. And I started boxing. Started sneaking the boxing gym as a kid. My mum didn't agree with it. And then she finally found out, and my dad's come along to see what it was like, and they wanted me to pursue it and keep it up. Then I went on to carry on boxing. I had a few fights, won the schoolboys national title, won the junior ABA national title, got to the finals when I was 17 in the ABAs, junior ABAs, went on to represent England, Four Nations, World Championships, and then I sort of fell out of love with it. I was #1 in the UK, and England let me down. I was meant to go to the Junior Olympics, and they sent someone who I'd knocked out. And I got to the point where I put all my life into it, and I just broke my heart, and I stopped and come away for 2 years. Then after that, I got back into boxing and would turn professional. I think I had 3 fights. I won 1, lost 1 on a doctor's stoppage, and lost 1 on points. And it was just the professional boxing game. It's a tough sport unless you are a high-profile fighter. It's a totally different game from MMA. You've got to sell a lot of tickets. You've got to be a big name. You've got to have a big following. And I just didn't have that at the time. So I come away and I turned into the professional boxing coach. I was training a lot of pros. And then I was actually coaching a MMA fighter, boxing. Went to the gym to coach him and seeing these lads wrestling, and sort of got into MMA that way. And I fell in love with it. I used to think boxing was the #1 discipline of fighting. I used to watch MMA and think I'd knock him out, I'd stop him. And then suddenly realised it's a whole different world. So at the age of 25, I got into MMA. And straight away, I got a fight with about 12 weeks experience. Got a couple of wins. Then I come up against Jar Herbert and dropped down to welterweight. I fought Jar Herbert. I had a terrible weight cut. I think I cut something like 13 kilos in a week of water, which is just stupid. I gassed. And I didn't have a coach at the time who could show me the right way and how to cut weight. And as a boxer, I used to put a sweatsuit on and just make weight. It was totally different back then. Then I started playing around with weights, doing middleweight, welterweight. I had an up and down amateur record. And then something clicked. I had a good wrestling coach at the time, David Faulkner, and spent a lot of time doing jiu-jitsu, Kojak Sakata, and my game evolved. And then I went on and won a few fights. And then I think I was about 5 and 6 and 4 amateur and wanted to go professional. Went full-time coaching, mixed martial arts and boxing. Gave up a family business to pursue what I loved. And here I am today. Got my own gym with some amazing people around me who believed in me, helped me along the way. And now my life and my family's life is all here at the gym. And I'm world champion.
On the on the subject of being world champion and looking at the success that you achieved whilst participating and competing in mixed martial arts, what would you say you owe that success to? Would you say it's just your mental strength, people around you, or just the sort of decisions you made early on before you go into anything, whether it's how to prepare for a fight, the sorts of people you socialize with? What would you say you owe your success to?
I've never been good at anything in all my life. I've just wanted to stand out and be someone. And for me, not for no one else, just for me to say I've done something good. I've done, I've accomplished something. And whenever I get beat or whenever I lose, because I used to lose everything as a kid. I was crap at football. I was crap at sports. I couldn't run. I was overweight. I was terrible at everything. And then I got into boxing, and I was really tough, and I was good at taking a beating. And as crazy as it sounds, being tough has got me through it all. I'm a good nail. I'm good at getting beat up. I can take a lot of punishment, and I've got no quit in me. And now I've added the skills to that. That's what made me a world champion.
You were quite overweight before when you were a lot younger.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I started boxing as a kid. I was overweight, I was unfit, and I wanted to change all that. And I used to try sports. I was very sporty, but I was just struggling at the time, and I had no guidance. And the way I lived my life was wrong, and nutrition was terrible, and I just had to find a way to change my life.
Really? When someone like yourself who's in shape, who's athletic, when people turn around and tell me that they used to be fast enough weight, I am quite taken aback because looking at the person, you can never imagine them being out of shape and fast.
Yeah, well, that was me. That was me. I was a little roly-poly. Used to call me Tank Ass. That was my nickname back in the day.
So, when you're in the cage there, when you're fighting, and well, I think you kind of answered this, but I mean, like, what is it that drives you? As in, what is the one thing in your mind that when you walk into that cage, you have to win, but it's like how you go about winning, and just hoping that your game plan goes to plan and actually works for you. And what is the thing that drives you to just keep on going and see everything to the very bitter end?
I just lay it all down and sort of say, whatever they're going to bring, I'm going to be able to deal with. And I just use my instinct, I use my spider sense. I become free and relax. And, that's been the change in my career the last few years. It's just getting that mindset right and be able to go in there and lay it all down and say, I'm going to give it all and I'm going to give it my best. And it works for me. It works.
There's something that I tend to be very careful asking fighters, of course, in fact, anyone really. For the fights that you have lost, I mean, what does it, as in, does it feel like? I mean, does it kind of dent your does it kind of make you feel like you want to probably give up or so? Because in one of your last posts that I mentioned earlier on Instagram, you said you want to thank all the naysayers, and I was thinking that was actually very noble of you to even go as far as to say thank you to all the people who are talking trash about me. Like, you helped me when they're probably feeling 10 times worse, and I'm probably just eating their words. As in, how do you deal with like the negative aspects of this sport?
I use it to spur me on. I use it as fuel. I love it when someone says to me, you can't do this. And then I say, watch me, let's go. That spurs me on. Throughout all my life, people said I wasn't a boxer, and I become the best boxer in England. When I started MMA, I was a high level boxer. I was well known for my boxing ability, and I had people say to me, "It's not for you, this Mick. You're no good at MMA. Go back to boxing." And now I've become world champion, and I always remember that, and it spurs me on. I love it when someone says I can't do something. And now the next step is, where do I go from here? I've defended the belt once. People said to me, you can never get the UFC, you're too old. I'm 36, but I'm still performing. I feel better than ever. Feel better than ever. My cardio and my strength is, I work so hard every day. I live in the gym. This is my home. I live in the gym. I do me wrestling, my cardio, my striking, my weights, my conditioning, every single day, all day. And that's why I'm still going strong and doing well. I lived the life.
In a town like Liverpool, where everybody seems to be, let's say, though people are strangers, but they seem to probably just like, almost like they know each other.
Yeah.
Kind of. When you have lost a fight, have you ever even or managed to confront one of the haters just in the street? And just if you know them, say if you're standing in a pub or public place with family or friends, and then someone from the other side of the square or the bar shouts, "Oh, there's such and such, you lost that fight," and so on, so they start taking the piss. Have you ever
No,
confronted them?
no one ever say that. No one would ever say that. It's not like that fighting.
All
You
right.
still have respect. People have doubted me and said they can't do things, but no one, they're doing it in a nice way because they care about me and think that, I can't do something. I'm not able to do so. It's too hard. And that's the difference. People fail and think, oh no, that's it, it's over. It's not, it's just a fight. Like that on Friday night was just a fight, it was just another fight. People are saying to me, you're nervous. No, it's just a fight. It's a
So
fight. That's all it is.
you say it's
It's
a
for the
fight,
world
but
title. It's just a
you,
fight to me.
you say
What
it's
happens, happens. What
you
will
say.
be, will be. There's no point worrying or stressing, is it?
Mm.
So fuck it, let's go. Let's have a fight. And it works. It works.
But Mick, you say it's just for okay, it is to you, but to other people, from the outside, for someone like me,
Yeah.
that's still a big deal. I mean, and the fact that it's coming from a promotion such as Cage Warriors, who still they may not be as big as Bellator or the UFC, but they're still a respectable, recognizable brand in the mixed martial arts and combat scene around the world. Having a title from them, that's a big
I know
deal.
it's good. I
Yeah.
know I don't even feel proud. I don't feel I've got no emotion to that belt. I always wanted to be world champion. I won the title and I just don't feel nothing.
Mm.
And that to me feels that, and I know what it is now because I've got so much more to give. And no one's seen anything yet. My skill level is next to that. I'm such a tough man. I am. I'm fighting these massive. I'm not even a middleweight. I'm a welterweight. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not a big middleweight. I know that, but I'm just that tough and resilient and train that hard that the weight class works for me. I hit like a truck. I always have done. But I've been known all my life for knocking people out. I went through the schoolboys. Like I said before, I won the national title and I knocked out 7 people back to back. And no one will fight me after that. And that's why I went on to fight for England only because I couldn't get fights. It's just the way I've always been. It's just me. I'm a fighter. And, you get some people who are martial artists or, they train, but they don't get in there and have a fight. And it's just the way you're wired. I'm not scared of getting hurt. If I get knocked out and get hurt, so be it. But having that resilience and that fight in me, that dog in me, it just separates me from everyone else.
You said earlier that I think you should have competed. I think when you were still boxing, that you should have competed for England at a particular. I God, I forgot the name that you mentioned, but they actually chose someone else to go and play.
Junior Olympic. Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
did you find out why they chose the other person instead of you? Because that was someone who you'd beat.
yeah. So what it was, the story behind it, the lad had, I think I had something like 14 fights, and the lad had 70 fights. He was 7-time national champion at the time. And they said he was more experienced than me. And like I said before, I knocked him clean out in the finals that year. And that just made me think. And at the time, I couldn't get any fights. The only way I could get a fight was for England. No one wanted to fight me. That year, in the championships, I got a bye straight to the final. They should have fought like 7 times. And every time they got drawn against me, they pulled out. And they pulled out and they pulled out. And then I won the final, stopped the lad in the second round. And then, England broke my heart and that was it. I was done. I walked away and I realised what the sport was about. But that's why mixed martial arts is so different. One win can change your life. One
Yes.
win can change your life in this game. And I'm excited to see what happens now. See who will fight next, see what happens and see where it goes. Because I think I've fought everyone in the middleweight division. There's no one left. I beat them all, beat the best of the best. It's only Bonner who I've been asking for the rematch with for the last 5 years since he beat me. And, he's just lost now. He's done now, I think. I can't see him coming back. So there's no one else left to beat.
Matthew the Beast Bonner.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No respect to him. There's no bad blood.
Yeah.
Same thing again. I just don't like getting beat by someone.
No,
And it just spurs me on, and I just train harder, and I know. But he's number one in the UK at the minute. Darren Stewart's number 2. I'm number 3. I'll be that number. This year, the goal was to get to number 1 in the UK, and I'm 1 fight away from that. And then let's see what happens after that.
Is there in the sports? So I keep getting tongue twisted. Is there a particular fighter or athlete, in combat sports as a whole, that does inspire you, that you tend to look to for the inspiration, and just want how they went about doing things, became so successful?
No, not really. No.
Oh.
I'm not inspired. I'm inspired by my coach, Darren Morris. I'm inspired by my teammate, Lee Chadwick. I'm inspired by my other teammates, Emil. The things they've been through, the fights they've had. My coach for his knowledge and his dedication to the sport. And, they're the people who inspire me. My wife inspires me for, having me back and putting up with me. Everyone's on their own journey, aren't they? I just love what I do, and I'm happy. I'm in a good place, and what will be, will be. Let's see what's next.
I have heard that nutrition-wise, you have gone vegan.
No, I did. I did a few years back. I went plant-based, and that's the reason I went to welterweight, because I lost that much muscle mass. I turned into the skinny fat guy. I went terrible. And I went to welterweight because my weight went that low, and my cardio was fantastic. But now, obviously, I needed the protein for the muscle, and for the strength. And my cardio is still the same, so I just stick to chicken and fish. And it seems to work. It seems to be working.
Would you say that it probably was not really a good idea? I mean, you said you're skinny fat, so probably you lost a lot of the strength, but you had plenty of the speed and the agility.
Yeah, but I wasn't fast enough for welterweight at the time. I wasn't quick enough. I struggled with the timing. At middleweight, I'm a lot faster. My techniques work, my cardio works, my pace is better. Weight classes and size. Look at the size of James Webb. I reckon he had 10 pounds on me on Friday night, and he put it on me, he hit me, but then skill, technique, precision, put that punch on his chin, it worked, didn't it? It ended the fight. And
Yes.
I know James Webb couldn't go 5 rounds, so it was just stay safe, stay out the way, get through the first 2 rounds and win the fight. And lucky enough, he wanted to have a fight with me, and I'm a fighter, and he come off worse for worse.
I just asked that because when I heard it, one of the things that does annoy me is that there's a massive push for people, I think around the world, but at least here in the UK, there's a massive push of people to start going vegan, to stop eating all the. It's quite annoying. Yeah,
It was a bit of a trend, but you need protein.
Yes.
You need protein. I made that mistake. To learn from it, and it's all about learning, isn't it? It's all about learning. It's all about learning and life. And I made millions of mistakes. My nutrition years ago was terrible. It's only the last few years everything's been spot on with strength and power and speed. I pass it on to my fighters now, and that's how you do it. That's how you learn.
What do you think of the state of the UK mixed martial arts scene today? As in, well, I'll say the UK and Irish, because they're so close and quite close together. Do you think it needs more media exposure, as in when fights do happen, when there's a really entertaining fight, we have a really good win and really talented fighters in the cage there? Do you think that the media here in the UK doesn't really give them the exposure that is deserved?
No, it doesn't. The big shows do. There's bigger shows coming over, Octagon, PFL. They're doing the right thing. But it's just, you've just got to get to that level to get that exposure, haven't you? You've got to get to a certain level. And hopefully I'll get there one day. Hopefully I'll get there and change my life.
I mean, you've achieved quite a lot of success in the cage. I mean, I'm not sure how else I should word this, but why don't more people know who you are, know your name? And I'll say the same for the other people, like on the same par with you.
Yeah, because something I've had all my life, my face doesn't fit. I don't look the part. You know, it's something that's always happened to me. I was #1 in the UK boxing and never been in the local paper. I still haven't now. It's just the way, I don't know what it is. Some people's face fits, they look the part. They're a selling point. It's all business, isn't it? I wasn't meant to win that world title. I'm not signed under CAGEWARRIORS as a fighter. I'm signed, not managed by CAGEWARRIORS. Do you understand that? Game Bullion's not my manager. I'm the outsider. I'm not meant to. They give me that Will Curry fight because no one else wanted to fight Will Curry. Does that make sense? Stewart, they wouldn't give me a title fight after I beat down Stewart. I had to leave and go somewhere else for them to want me back.
No, I understand what you're saying. Just I think it's very unfair. I mean, I think the point you're making is that because of how you look, you're not marketable. You know, people see your face, they won't pick up the magazine, won't pick up the paper, they won't buy the ticket.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Poster boy. That's what I call them, poster boys. But they're not fighters, and that's where I come away successful.
Your next fight, any word when that's going to be? Any word on who the promoter is going to be at all?
I've not heard none. I asked a few questions after the fight, and I was a bit shocked with the answers. And he said they're going to have a think and they're going to get back to me. We'll see. As the champion, I don't pick the fighter; they pick it for me, and we'll see what's next. We'll see what's next. See who they can bring in to beat me.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. Last one.
Yeah.
Any? I have to ask you this: who do you want? Any shout outs you want to give to anybody out there?
Yes, my good mate Hassan, who sponsors me with his local business Frequency. Another good friend Kyle, who sponsors me with his business. These people help me all the way. And another good friend Jason. My head coach Darren Morris, my training partners Darren, Lee Chadwick, Emil, everyone at SW, all my training partners and my team at Urban Kings, and everyone who's ever supported me. Thank you very much.
Mick, thank you so much for coming on the show. We will definitely have you back on again very soon. Guys, thank you for watching and listening. If you did watch and listen to up to this point, please don't forget to hit subscribe. And you can also catch the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and on Google Podcasts. Mick, thank you once again. Take care.
Good to speak.